Hello everyone and welcome back to Covetous Imp Gaming. This week we're going to talk about the second phase of the One D&D testing. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Leave us a comment below about videos you'd like to see in the future or any comments you have about this phase of the One D&D testing. Hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're alerted to our future content, and check us out on Facebook and Patreon. Those links are down below. So the first thing that they went into was dividing up the classes into four categories. The warrior class group is your fighters, your barbarians, and your monks. Your priests are your druids, your clerics, and your paladins. The mages are wizard, warlock, sorcerer, and the one that they focused on in this phase were the experts, and that is bard, ranger, and rogue. And those three are basically classes that dip into other classes to make them an expert in doing something, kind of like your support classes. First one up was the bard. Bard had a number of changes. All the changes felt really good and really smooth, a smooth transition overall. Bardic Inspiration got a little bit of a change where now you can use Bardic Inspiration as just an on-the-spot heal, which feels pretty good in a lot of situations where you just need a quick little heal to maybe pick somebody up. The other change was Songs of Restoration. Gives bards that you always have X, Y, and Z prepared every day. Which then allows bards to have a much larger toolkit of spells available to them, because the ones that they're always kind of forced or need to take are already prepared off the bat. Ranger got a number of changes to their toolkit, and it seems like they have broadened their horizons quite a bit. They do still feel like they're going to be a little on the underwhelming side when it comes to high-level campaigns and damage. But overall, I feel like a ranger is still a completely invaluable asset when it comes to hex crawls, survival campaigns, anytime where you can get lost, or you have this type of enemy and you need someone to have that background information about them. Things like that are completely invaluable to the group, at least temporarily. At least, I feel like Ranger's not a bad dip if you need information or you need to survive in an environment. Rogue felt, for the most part, unchanged. I don't recall, and so this might be a change, I don't recall being at disadvantage removing the ability for you to sneak attack. And it almost brings into question, and probably should be clarified in the rules, that if you have advantage and disadvantage and it's a wash, you still are at disadvantage, or you still have a disadvantage against you, and whether or not that would allow for sneak attack to happen because you're still at a straight roll with your advantage and disadvantage. The next thing on the UA was a much more filled out list of feats, each one with a level requirement and in some cases a prerequisite. You have to be from this class group or things like that. Again, that felt like it was a much more balanced approach to feats, and having access to those first level feats to begin your character, and if you're trying to feat out your character instead of just ASI out your character, it brings a much more balanced approach when you have either a prerequisite to get to the next one, almost like a skill tree, or if you can't take this feat until this level. It feels much more balanced than I'm just taking this feat right off the bat, and it makes me overpowered for 8 levels, and then maybe my feat will start to get lackluster, but we're practically at the end of the campaign at that point. The next thing was a spell list that was divided into arcane, divine, and primal, and flagged with whether or not it could be ritual cast. I think that if this is the way that they're going to do it, where it's going to be your mage classes, so your wizard, sorcerer, and warlock have access to the arcane list, and your druids and rangers have access to the primal list, and your clerics and paladins have access to the primal list. The divine list. It seems like that's a much better approach than this is your spell list and this is your spell list. And it's, I want to play this class, but I want to be able to cast this spell, and I don't have access to this spell. So what do I do? It feels better, I think, to kind of put that out there as a, if you're going to be a mage, you have all these spells to choose from, as opposed to this class gets these spells and this class gets these spells and not these spells. And I think flagging things as ritual spells in a more compact list makes it easier for people to just know right off the bat, I can ritual cast this. Let me just take 10 minutes and not burn a spell slot. Finally, we had an 8-page rules glossary this time, and the video that kind of comes along with this update, they talk about how this is a much larger rules glossary, and if there's a contradiction in a rules glossary going forward, the newest rule set in the rules glossary will take precedence. So if you're merging all these things together and testing them or running a home campaign, any changes that are made in a newer rules glossary will overwrite your old stuff. To wrap things up, once again, I've said this before, I will say it again, all these rules are simply here in testing right now, and not all of them are going to make it into the print format of this book. And this is a very flexible game. If something does make it to print and everybody at your table hates it, say, I hate this rule, let's go back to the 5e version or the Pathfinder version or the 3.5 version or whatever meets the requirements and makes everybody happy at your table. Because that's what's important. If your people and your players and your fellow players and your DM, if everybody's happy, then you're going to have a great game. If there's a rule that somebody hates and you're very forceful with this is the rule that we're playing, the end, people aren't going to be happy with that rule and that ruling. The feedback for this wave of testing opens up on October 20th. And again, I've said it before, if you feel like there's a problem in any of the stuff that they go over in any of these phases of testing, you need to use the feedback option. If Rogue is your go-to class and you feel like something that I missed breaks Rogue fundamentally, say something. Let it be known, put it out there on forums or Facebook or anything, and have other people see your point of view, and hopefully you can change people's minds and more people say, hey, I don't think this is going to work for the game going forward. And it will get changed in a later testing version. If a ton of people say, hey, this is broken, I don't like this, it will potentially get changed. And if not, you can change it at your table. I'm really excited about One D&D so far. The testing stuff that I've seen up till now has all felt like very positive changes, and it doesn't feel like the game fundamentally breaks in any way. It does seem like it is going to be, there are going to be a couple changes that people need to get used to, but ultimately it does feel like it's just going to be D&D as it always has been. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next week.